In the bitter cold of the 1970s, while the world's two greatest superpowers, America and the Soviet Union, stood locked in the shadow of nuclear fear, something happened in the skies that would change aerial warfare forever.
We currently have no fighter in our operational inventory that could consistently, if successfully, combat the Foxbat. It is thought to have multiple air-to-air and long-range air-to-surface missile capability at a speed of Mach 3.
When the Soviet radar operators first detected the US Air Force's newest creation, sleek, sharp, and unbelievably fast, they realized something horrifying: they had no aircraft that could match it. That aircraft was the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, a machine so powerful, so technologically advanced, that it sent shockwaves through Soviet military intelligence. Overnight, it changed the balance of power in the skies. It wasn't just another fighter jet. It was a statement that America had achieved complete air dominance. But what exactly made the F-15 so terrifying? And why did the Soviets scramble to respond, spending billions trying to design something that could even come close? Let's dive into the untold story of the jet that made the Soviet Union tremble. The birth of a legend. The story of the F-15 begins in the 1960s, a decade defined by space races, nuclear tension, and military innovation. During this period, the US found itself falling behind. The Vietnam War had revealed that America's multi-role jets, designed to do everything, weren't excelling at anything. Meanwhile, Soviet fighters like the MiG-21 and MiG-25 Foxbat were pushing the limits of speed and altitude. The Pentagon realized it needed a pure air superiority fighter, something that wasn't a bomber, wasn't a ground attacker, but was built for one purpose only: to dominate the skies. When the final prototype took to the skies in 1972, even the test pilots knew instantly, this was something the world had never seen before. Designed to be untouchable, from nose to tail, the F-15 was an engineering masterpiece. It was not just built for combat, it was built for supremacy. Its airframe was a combination of strength and grace, with wide wings for stability and powerful dual engines that could push it past Mach 2.5, making it faster than most missiles of its time. Its radar, the AN/APG-63, was a revolution. It could track multiple targets at once, lock on from miles away, and even see through ground clutter. This was decades ahead of what the Soviets had. While Soviet pilots were still relying on ground-controlled radar stations, F-15 pilots had a digital eye in the sky. Every inch of the F-15 screamed dominance, from its 20mm M61 Vulcan cannon capable of firing 6,000 rounds per minute to its ability to climb from ground level to 30,000 feet in less than 60 seconds. For the Soviets, this wasn't just another fighter, it was an aerial nightmare that defied physics. America's secret weapon, the mind of the pilot. But what truly made the F-15 lethal wasn't just metal and electronics, it was the human factor. The US Air Force completely rethought how pilots fought in the sky. The F-15's cockpit was designed for situational awareness, a 360-degree glass bubble canopy, easy-to-reach controls, and a heads-up display that kept all crucial data in view. The pilot could now focus entirely on winning the fight, not just flying the jet. This gave F-15 pilots something the Soviets couldn't replicate: mental superiority. To the Soviets, this was terrifying. Because for the first time in history, the machine didn't just obey the pilot, it became an extension of them. The MiG-25 Shockwave. In 1967, before the F-15 was even completed, the Soviet Union unveiled the MiG-25 Foxbat, a monster of an aircraft that could reach speeds above Mach 3. Western intelligence panicked. The US thought the Soviets had built a superfighter that could outrun and outgun anything America had. But when a MiG-25 pilot, Viktor Belenko, defected to Japan in 1976 and handed over his jet to US authorities, the truth stunned the Pentagon. The MiG-25 wasn't a cutting-edge dogfighter, it was a brute built for speed, made mostly of steel, with limited maneuverability. It could go fast, yes, but it couldn't fight. The F-15 was everything the MiG-25 wasn't, and that's when fear truly set in behind the Iron Curtain. Not a pound for to ground, the Eagle's pure purpose. When the F-15 program was under development, the engineers had one motto: not a pound for to ground. Every single design decision focused on air combat. Unlike multi-role fighters, the Eagle was a purebred air superiority machine. Its wings were shaped for high lift in turning battles. Its engines were designed to deliver thrust even at high altitudes. It carried air-to-air missiles like the AIM-7 Sparrow, AIM-9 Sidewinder, and later the AIM-120 AMRAAM, giving it lethal reach across the sky. By the time it entered service in 1976, one thing was clear: the F-15 wasn't just an aircraft, it was a declaration. America now had a jet that guaranteed air superiority for decades. Proving ground, the Middle East showdown. It didn't take long for the F-15 to prove itself in real combat. In the late 1970s and 1980s, Israel, armed with American F-15s, faced off against Soviet-supplied Syrian and Iraqi fighters in the skies over the Middle East. The results were devastating. Israeli F-15s achieved over 100 kills with 0 losses. MiGs were falling from the sky like flies. Even Soviet advisors were stunned by how the F-15 shredded their aircraft formations in minutes. The F-15's radar could detect enemy jets long before they were visible. It could engage at beyond visual range, destroy targets, and vanish before the enemy even knew what hit them. Soviet panic, the race for an answer. By the 1980s, the Soviets were in full panic mode. Their best fighter, the MiG-25, had failed to compete. So they began designing new aircraft from scratch, the Su-27 Flanker and the MiG-29 Fulcrum. Both were built specifically to counter the F-15. Soviet engineers studied every scrap of intelligence they could find. They made the Su-27 fast, maneuverable, and equipped it with a radar that could rival the Eagle's. But even then, the F-15 still held the edge. Why? Because while the Soviets were just beginning to add digital systems and advanced avionics, the US was already perfecting them. The fear factor, psychological warfare in the sky. The F-15 wasn't only a weapon, it was a symbol. Every time one flew along the border of Soviet airspace, it wasn't just conducting patrols, it was sending a message. Its radar signature, speed, and presence on Soviet tracking systems became a daily reminder of US dominance. Soviet pilots nicknamed it the Eagle, and not in admiration, but in fear. Even NATO pilots said flying beside it was like standing next to a lion. The confidence of American pilots soared, while Soviet morale plummeted. They knew that in a real conflict, their chances of surviving an engagement with the F-15 were slim to none. Technological superiority, beyond speed and firepower. What made the F-15 so special was not just its brute power, it was its intelligence. The jet's onboard computer was revolutionary. It processed radar data faster than any other aircraft in existence, allowing pilots to make split-second decisions in the heat of combat. This was an era when most Soviet jets still relied on analog instruments and ground-based control. The F-15 was already a networked warrior, capable of independent operations and data sharing. Its combination of long-range radar, precision missiles, and unmatched maneuverability gave it total control of the skies. And perhaps most importantly, it had reliability. American pilots trusted their Eagles with their lives. And that reliability made the jet an unstoppable force in both training and combat. The F-15's perfect record, 0 losses in air combat. Here's what truly terrified the Soviets, the F-15's kill record. Across all air-to-air engagements, the F-15 achieved over 100 confirmed kills and suffered 0 air-to-air losses. Let that sink in. Not one F-15 was ever shot down by an enemy aircraft. Whether in the hands of US, Israeli, or Saudi pilots, the results were the same. Every engagement ended with the Eagle victorious. For Soviet strategists, this was devastating. It meant that the aircraft they had spent decades and billions developing, MiGs, Sukhoi, interceptors, were simply outclassed. The F-15 had become more than a jet, it was a myth, a ghost, a fearsome legend that dominated the Cold War skies. Evolution, from F-15A to the F-15EX. Even as decades passed, the F-15 refused to die. Instead, it evolved. From the original F-15A to the F-15C, then the Strike Eagle, F-15E, capable of ground attack, and now the F-15EX, each version became smarter, stronger, and deadlier. The F-15EX, nicknamed the Legal II, carries modern AESA radar, advanced avionics, and the ability to launch hypersonic missiles. It's faster than the F-35 and can carry more weapons than any fighter in US history. For a design born in the 1970s, that's nothing short of astonishing. It's a testament to how far ahead the F-15 was when it first entered service, that even half a century later, it's still terrifying America's enemies. Soviet desperation, enter the Su-27 and MiG-29. In response to the Eagle, the Soviets launched two of their most advanced fighters, the Su-27 Flanker and the MiG-29 Fulcrum. Both were incredible machines, agile, fast, and capable of high-G maneuvers that even impressed Western pilots. But the F-15 still had the upper hand. Its radar range, weapon systems, and pilot training made it a complete ecosystem, not just an aircraft. Even after the Cold War, mock dogfights during joint exercises between American F-15s and Russian-designed jets proved one thing: the Eagle could still dominate. A symbol of air superiority. The F-15 wasn't just an aircraft, it was a declaration of dominance. Its success reshaped global air strategy. It became a deterrent, an assurance that any nation challenging the United States in the skies would pay the price. For decades, Soviet generals couldn't sleep easy knowing that the US had something they couldn't match. It was psychological warfare at its finest. The F-15 became a benchmark. Every fighter jet designed afterward, from the F-22 Raptor to the Eurofighter Typhoon, carries its DNA. In short, the Eagle didn't just rule the skies, it rewrote the laws of air combat. Why the F-15 still matters today? In an age of stealth fighters and drones, one might wonder, why does the F-15 still matter? The answer is simple: it's irreplaceable. Its unmatched speed, payload, and combat record make it a cornerstone of modern air defense. Even with the arrival of fifth-generation jets like the F-35, the F-15EX continues to fill roles no other aircraft can. It remains the air superiority workhorse, the one that commands respect and strikes fear. To this day, no aircraft has ever beaten it in direct air-to-air combat. The jet that defined fear itself. So now you know why the F-15 terrified the Soviets. It wasn't just its speed, or its radar, or its weapons. It was what it represented: dominance, precision, and unshakable confidence. If you enjoyed diving deep into the history and power of the F-15 Eagle, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more incredible stories of military legends, engineering marvels, and the machines that shaped our world.